So good afternoon. Thank you, Isabel, for this introduction. So my name is Vassilios Kougionas. I work for the European Commission in DG Research and Innovation. And today I'm going to give you an update of what we do on research and innovation CCUS. So first of all, a general slide of what we do towards clean energy transition in the EU. So the EU goal, of course, is net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2050, and we want to switch fossil fuel energy to renewables and zero carbon energy. And we consider that this is necessary because this represents 3/4 of the EU emissions of CO2. But this transition, of course, needs to take place without hampering the environment, but also without reducing the availability and affordability of energy to all its users. And I hope the Ukraine war will not affect the energy prices this winter. So the remaining carbon energy intensive industries, they need to be fully decarbonized through CCUS. Low carbon hydrogen with CCUS can play a role in the intermediate period, or of course with the objective to fully green hydrogen in the longer term. So overall, the EU policy tools that we have for CCS and CCU, probably my colleague Daniel will mention them later on also, is the EU climate law, of course, 5 to 55 package, the energy system integration strategy, which includes, of course, the hydrogen strategy, the Repower EU, as you know, and then the Trans-European Energy Networks now includes, the TENI regulation includes CO2 storage. The Sustainable Taxonomy also includes CCS actually. And then, of course, you have CCS directive, the EU ETS, and then there will be communication. There's already communication on sustainable carbon cycles, but the EC will propose an EU regulatory framework on the certification of carbon removals by the end of 2022. Then the funding schemes for CCUS, of course, are the Horizon Europe, the Innovation Fund and Connect Europe facility. Then I need to mention also the New Generation EU and the European Recovery Budget, and already national plans in some member states which will include CCUS in their plans. And finally, the Strategic Energy Technology Plan, which within it there is the Implementation Working Group on CCUS, and which has established new research and innovation targets, which I will mention in my slides later on. Then for research and innovation on CCUS, we think that the CCUS will play a crucial role in Horizon Europe, as it does in the EU Green Deal. And I would like to mention that this is very much for the transition of energy-intensive industries, and less to the power sector, towards climate neutrality. Particularly important, therefore, is for these industries where other alternatives do not exist, for example, the cement industry. And as we know, if CCUS is combined with sustainable biomass, then it could create some negative emissions. Then, as I mentioned before, low carbon hydrogen from natural gas can play a role towards the transition to fully renewable hydrogen. The CCUS in industrial clusters, it's important, and how will be included in there. Then the demonstration of full CCUS chain needs to be established. And they also want to do research on conversion of capture CO2 to useful products, which need to be long-lived, of course. And we will include some research innovation on direct and capture and storage and bioenergy and CCS. So what are the expected impacts that we aim to generate from research innovation CCUS? First, we want to accelerate the rollout of infrastructure, in particular for CCUS hubs and clusters. Then to continue the knowledge and best practice sharing activities. In the past, as you remember, in Horizon 2020, we have the CCS project network, in which we shared knowledge between different demonstration projects. So we aim to continue that and to connect the industrial CO2 sources with potential bankable storage sites. And also this will provide greater confidence for the decision makers and investors. Then we need to have proven visibility of integrating the CO2 capture, storage and use in industrial facilities, and to maximize efforts to close the carbon cycle. And that's why you need to demonstrate these technologies at industrial scale, and this should pave the way for subsequent first-of-a-kind industrial projects. We need, of course, to reduce the cost of CCUS value chain. CO2 capture has been considered as the most relevant stumbling block. Of course, as it was mentioned before, if we are going to transport CO2 at a long distance, then of course this will add to the cost. So we need to have develop innovative technologies also for CO2 conversion, and you reduce the need of pre-concentration and purification. Also, adequate framework for measurement, monitoring, and verification for storage needs to be developed in order to document safe storage, and also to accelerate and improve public acceptance in local areas, to integrate with stakeholders, of course, and the public. So the further research on direct air capture and storage and bioenergy CCS, that's what we aim to do also in Horizon Europe. But also this will be very important to do the combination of CO2 storage in order to develop cost-effective carbon removal in view of achieving net zero targets. Finally, we need to assess the environmental impacts and risk in the short, medium, and long term of CCUS technologies. So in the first 2 years of Horizon Europe, we have already had some topics. And first was a topic which was support action, was an integrated integration of CCUS in hubs clusters, including knowledge sharing activities. This was actually that project that aiming to do the continuation of the project network we had in Horizon Europe. So the budget for that was 2 million euros, because, as I mentioned, it was a coordination support action. And the successful project was to continue the activities of existing CCUS project network. So one project will start in 2022. Then I had another topic on cost reduction of CO2 capture. This was aiming for new or improved technologies of CO2 capture. Then the total budget for that was 30 million euros, and this was a research innovation action aiming for TRL 6 actually. And in this topic we were aiming to have pilots to demonstrate the advanced CO2 capture technologies, and also to have a high potential to increase the capture rates and the efficiency, but also aiming to reduce the energy penalty and improving the cost efficiency of the whole capture projects. So we had actually 2 new projects that will start in 2022. Then finally for 2022 we had another topic, which was a bigger topic, because we were aiming to decarbonize industry with CCUS. The total budget for that was 58 million euros, and aiming for innovation action, which was aiming for TRL levels of 7 to 8, so very close to full demonstration. So for this, we are aiming for safe and economic demonstration of integrated chain CCUS from relevant industrial sources in order to pave the way for subsequent first-of-a-kind industrial projects. And for this, there are 2 new projects under selection. So we're already preparing for, and we are almost there, for the work program for 23-24 in Horizon Europe. These topics are already discussed with the member states, and there were already, the work program, it's already finished the inter-service consultation, and we're aiming to publish this work program by the end of November 2022. So the topics that are in preparation are mostly including CO2 capture and CO2 storage and transport, because this was not included in the previous topic, because this was aiming for a big project. And also we want to include CO2 utilization, an extra topic, and also we want to include a topic on DAX and BEX, because this will be in line with the mission on CDR, which are participating, and I'm going to discuss a bit later. So the input we're receiving for drafting our programs on research innovation is from different project portfolios that are funded under the previous EU framework programs. Of course, the European Technology Innovation Platform it's another source of input, and they have provided us with good research activities that need to be continued. Then, of course, the Strategic Energy Technology Plan, it's another top forum that we need to discuss with them for our research priorities. And finally, the European Energy Research Alliance. This is just a slide showing that what the implementation working group 9 is doing, and how they're focusing now to accelerate the transition through the greater coordination of EU national, industrial and academic research. So under the implementation working group 9, the chairs are the Netherlands and Norway, together with ZEP ETIP. So you can see in this map the members of the implementation working group 9. So in this group, all parts of CCUS value chain, including low carbon hydrogen and carbon dioxide removals, are included. And they have updated actually the CCUS targets. So now they're aiming for 50 million tons of CO2 per year abated by CCUS by 2030. And they have also developed new targets, which I'm going to show in the next slide. And they also developed a CCUS roadmap for 2030, in which they ask what will be needed in terms of policy, business models, research, innovation, and development to make this happen. So these are the targets, the new targets of the implementation working group 9. So you see they have much more ambitious than we had before. I'm not going to read through all these targets, but the ambition is there to reach our targets. So what are the next steps that are key for CCUS? First of all, there will be more calls from the Innovation Fund, and my colleague Daniel probably will say a few things about that. Then we have a sixth PCI list, which this time will include CO2 storage. The new studies on transport and storage and infrastructure for 2023. There will be also work on CCUS industrial partnership and vision document in 2023. The CCUS forum, there will be CCUS technology stakeholders meetings, and there will be also a meeting in end of October for that. The carbon removal certification proposal, which I mentioned before, and we need also the industry to step up their activities. I also want to mention what we have now under Horizon Europe, the Clean Energy Transition Partnership, which aims to empower the energy transition and contribute from a research innovation perspective to the EU goal of becoming the first climate neutral continent by 2050. So the CTP actually builds on the set plan implementation working groups and on the energy relevant aeronets. So for CCUS, of course, all of you know the activities that have been done under the ACT aeronet, and also its initiative on CCUS will be continued under the Transition Initiative 3 from the CTP partnership. So there is already a new call in September 22, and actually there will be also a specific call on mission innovation. So there are some opportunities actually to participate in this from the CCUS perspective. Of course, this call will be published by the member states, which they coordinate together to organize calls. So just to provide a short update of the ACT aeronets, which actually was very successful initiative, which we had 16 funding agencies from 16 countries, and they managed to attract actually the participation and funding from countries outside Europe, such as Canada, India, and specifically US. They have actually 3 calls, and they have funded, I think, more than 30 projects overall, and it was a very successful initiative because it was focused. It managed to focus its activities on mission innovation projects, multinational projects, and we hope this will continue under the new mission innovation. So just going to say a few words about the new mission that would follow after the CCUS mission challenge that we had in previous mission innovation. So this CO2 removal mission, in which the European Commission has become a member, is to enable the CDR technologies to achieve a net reduction of 400 million metric tons of CO2 per year globally by 2030. Then the scope of this mission actually includes basically 3 technologies. First is the direct air capture and storage, biomass with carbon removal and storage, and also enhanced mineralization. So where we are is we are in the phase of providing emphasis to secure CO2 storage, and of course the conversion of CCU, it has to be to long-lived products. So the activities we have at the moment is first is the methodologies of life cycle analysis and techno-economic analysis, and also research development demonstration for low TRL CDR technologies, and also lessons to be learned from first generation of CDR projects and also business models. That's the members of the mission, the new mission. The leaders are Canada, Saudi Arabia, and United States, and the members are actually Australia, the European Commission, India, Japan, Norway, and recently United Kingdom has become a member. So there is an ongoing engagement with the industry, innovation, and academia. So things are become very active lately because they are preparing for the Global Clean Energy Action Forum in Pittsburgh, which will take place actually this week, September 21 to 23rd. And the mission, we're preparing also what we call the mission sprints, which are actually flagship projects that each country will do on CDR. So there is a carbon dioxide removal launchpad, that's the name of a global push for CDR pilot scale tests and demonstration projects. So there are several countries that expressed their interest for this, to have these CDR pilot scale projects, including the European Commission. Other activities include the CDR mapping initiative, what we call. The innovation roadmap is already ready and will be published soon. and we are actually preparing what we call the action plan. So thank you very much, and I will be happy to reply to your questions. Thank you.